that field to make sure that you advance in your technology readiness levels. But as much as we advance towards the accelerator, the grant component becomes less important, and we actually also start becoming more and more as an investor. And this is kind of where you see there's a similar mindset between what EIC is doing and what the venture capitalists are doing, with one main exception. He's very impact-oriented, not per se money-oriented. Because we also know that if, it's clear that if you really, I was speaking yesterday during the opening about the green transition, the digital transition, if it all has to rely on grants, it's going to be a very expensive transition, clearly impossible. That's why we also actually need, we cannot only work with the grants. You see, there's no money for this. So that's why, perhaps when you were listening to Henrik, and it was very VC based, and you have to earn a lot of money, you have to become, you have to reach break even, etc., etc. Why we are not entirely, not against this way of thinking, because we would like to see businesses contributing, for example, to climate, but not relying on grants. So anyhow, EIC Accelerator, you have the grants, actually there are three options. Grants only, investments only, or what we call blended financing. You get a grant and you get some kind of investment. If you talk about investments, it's equity investments. So we become kind of a shareholder as part of this. That's why also there's something called EIC fund. So in case one of the ideas makes profit, we can reinvest the profit to help other great ideas to get some money. Okay, I'll go into more detail. Perhaps yes, about the amounts. So when it comes to investment component, also I think about it very quickly. Also when it comes to the Pathfinder and Accelerator, there are minimum amounts and maximum amounts. Although both of them are approximate, right? If there is a great idea, so I think for the Pathfinder it's around 4 million euros. For the transition, it's around 2 million euros. If you are just a little bit above, but your idea is great, it won't be a deal breaker, but it's more of an indication. When it comes to the accelerator, for the grant side, it's maximum between 500,000 million. If you're talking about investment, it's between 500,000 and 15 million. Now, what is important to add here, especially when it comes to investment component, is that and so it's actually what happens in most cases, if the beneficiary receives money from the EIC, in terms of investments, often a lot of VCs jump in as well. Because they see this as a certificate of excellence in many ways, a high potential, etc., etc., etc. And in some cases, you also have that the EIC investments is consuming basically all the risk. So for example, imagine you have a startup, it receives EIC money as an investment. When the startup turns to be evolving badly, the first loss will be the EIC money. And it actually allows the VCs to pull out earlier. So that's why often when you receive EIC money from the EIC as an investment, you often also receive money from the VCs, because we also de-risking them a little bit. So these are the three main instruments, a bunch of information online. I think when you're thinking about this, you can also take it into consideration for your current projects or whatever you will be doing in the future. But I think it's also important to highlight that Pathfinder and transition exist. So it's not only about something that will have huge impact tomorrow, or that either has to fail or have huge impact tomorrow. So it can also be something that might have an impact in 10 years. Business acceleration services, I said from the moment you manage to get any of the money from the EIC, either grant or investment, you get a bunch of support. And the EIC fund. So this is kind of an interesting development, like I said. So EIC is also investing in accelerator phase. They're also investing, and they are kind of also being managed as a VC fund. The focus is much more on impact then on profit compared to the VC fund. I think this is something that might be interesting for you. It might be a little bit more bureaucratic, and the payments usually take a little bit more time. Then when it comes to the VC funds, there's a little bit more paperwork involved, etc. But nevertheless, it can be quite rewarding, and it's also something that is quite new. And from the Commission side, we are continuously trying to make its operations as smooth as possible, although there is quite still some improvement possible. And then other EIC initiatives, there are also a bunch of prizes, similar events also organized by them. There's a lot of stuff happening there, and we also see the role of EIC increasing in the future. So you have, for example, the EIC prizes for women innovators. In June, there's also the prize for female entrepreneurs that was launched, the Capital of Innovation. Okay, there are a bunch of different things. Sometimes for the member states as well, sometimes for the institutions, but a lot for SMEs or even individuals. So keep an eye on the EIC activities. I'll stop here in case there are some questions. I see there's one raised hand there. Yes.
Can we get these slides or?
You'll get these slides, yeah. Yeah, there are like 28 slides, and I was thinking, yeah, I'll just go quickly through them. But it's important to know that these three building blocks exist, and that hopefully one fits your needs.
Thank you very much. Does the Commission accept a consortium from a British fund, Horizon 2020 or Horizon Europe project to apply to EIC accelerator? Because you know, if you are the owner and you have the intellectual property of the output of the fund project, you have a profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, is that it?
Yeah, of course. Why shouldn't you? You will, yeah, why shouldn't you be accepted? So but of course, you have to show your case, etc., etc. It's a competitive procedure.
You promise that you have open access to everything.
Yeah. Indeed. And actually, what we actually often see is because of Pathfinder, there are some grants that receive, and there are some beneficiaries of the grants for the Pathfinder that do a great job, and simply they don't know what to do with this. We develop technologies. What's the next step? And somebody else picks it up. Maybe it's to transition, and then maybe somebody else will scale it up. So it happens actually quite a lot. It's more of a rule than exception that you don't have same consortium, same beneficiary going from research to technological development, proof of concept, prototyping, starting up the business, getting on the market. Often you have kind of combination. Plus, especially in the accelerator, I mean, if you see the ones that enter transition, also they combine often different things. They have their own research done, but they combine to the existing things that were done in the Pathfinder, etc.
Another question. Is it okay to copy and paste your construction and your ideas to EIC, ERC, or IT codes in the same amount of codes?
They are evaluated separately. They are evaluated separately, but if you just copy paste stuff. I mean, yeah, nobody's going to check that. Nobody's going to have checkings like, oh, have you used the same sentences before? Of course not, but it's competitive, this also. So you really always have to be, you have to be concise to the point. It has to be of clear added value, and so then, of course, you might have some kind of same building blocks. And this is also the point. This is you should do it like this. But of course, also to adapt it to the extent needed. A lot of information, a lot of numbers. All right, thanks a lot for your attention.
Ik heb het natuurlijk wel, dus dat is like, I don't know, show and all,
even mostly through grants and also in that case, I think that we should be solid for that. We can have solutions that can improve just whatever, even the private technology for we can solve the money. We can connect to some organizations that want to use it.
People can kind of split up and make some slides, or people like it would be nice to go around the same because you're just here
That's what I
Hi everybody, and I'm back with three very special guests. You've probably recognized them, maybe they're a member of your group. I'm with some buddies. So we're going to learn a little bit about what it means to be a buddy from the people who are buddies. So first of all, we're going to do a little round of introductions. So if you wouldn't mind each just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Christine, and I study law at in Amsterdam, the Vrije Universiteit. And next to that, I work for the government here in the Netherlands. And for this half a week, I'm a buddy here at TalentOn. So yeah, that's fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Martin. I'm actually from Leiden. I live here. Okay. Not a lot of people, but I do. And I just graduated political science at Leiden University. And so of course, I took the summer off and a bit of travel. And now I'm sort of in between, maybe travel a bit more and then start my real job in the fall.
Great.
I'm Angel. I just graduated from my master's in literary studies here in Leiden. I'm going to start my PhD. And last minute, they needed a last buddy, and I was available.
Well, we're very happy to have you join us. And thank you, for taking the time to shed a bit of insight into what you guys have been doing. So that leads me to my next question. So what is a buddy? What does a buddy do? And why did you guys decide to become a buddy?
So for me, I think a buddy is like big support, like everything that the team forgets, or they forget the time, or they don't know exactly where they need to go. We keep it in our mind the whole time. Yeah. So I think that I hope we can help them a lot with that. Yeah. And and a little bit with the content depends on what you if you study a little bit the same or not. Yeah. So for example, now I also helped a little bit with the pitch, just like some words or ideas. So it has been very fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to add to that maybe it's a little bit of facilitating. So sometimes I ask, do you want a coffee or something to drink or something to eat? So I did a bachelor's and master's in political science, and my mission area is the soil deal for Europe. So I don't have any technical knowledge, but sometimes I can maybe pitch in. And I said, maybe at the brainstorm, okay, so take a step back. What was the problem again? And I could maybe sway them a bit one way back to the beginning. Yeah. That's what I tried to do. And of course, support them and try to bring some enthusiasm when spirits were low. I tried to keep up the spirits.
Great.
I try to make them more depressed than they already are. I think does it work? Yes. I think my job is, as somebody who doesn't have a background in science, is to remind them of what the average person actually knows about cancer. My group is on Connect. They are working on something related to cancer. So, double checking, because they are doing PhDs, they're doing masters, they have been busy with this type of topic for a very long time. So to be reminded that, wait, is this an actual problem? I didn't even know that this existed, I think can be useful, especially because they will be pitching to the public tonight.
Yeah, that most definitely. Yeah, it's bringing an external point of view, and also that's really important because, of course, our teams are working really hard, and it can be very easy to really get stuck in your own head and also forget to take breaks, or, as you said, get a bit stuck or downhearted sometimes. So it's great that you guys are there to help them in all these different ways. I'm sure they really appreciate it. And also for helping us to bring people to us when been chasing down interviewees. So thank you. And finally, I'd like to just ask, what's been your favorite part, or the part that you think, wow, EU TalentOn is really something special?
I have an answer if you want. Yeah, you can. So for me, again, I'm very much in the humanities side of thing, and there really isn't much of a chance to get in touch with the STEM side of things. So to get to know some people who are scientists or aspire to be scientists, it really shows how much we all have in common in what we care about. We go about it in different ways, but we all care about the same challenges. And we all approach them in different ways. So to see these perspectives and to know the other side of the academic spectrum has been really fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so maybe the first thing I really liked was actually meeting my team. So we were at the Best House where we have had dinner for 2 nights, and I was like, oh, where's my team? And then I saw them, and then I was like, oh, I've been having contact with you for the past few weeks, and now I'm meeting you. I really like that. And I think to add upon what you said, I have a very interdisciplinary team, and I think that made things hard for them in the start, because it's really difficult to get yourself together, and if you're not in like one discipline, then it's even more difficult. But now that they did do that, I think it's even more challenging that they did it. So I think that was really cool to see and to watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, something to overcome. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think for me, I really like now, especially I think today, like it's really teamwork. So the first part was more a lot of workshops and knowledge, and everyone's figuring out what to do. And I noticed that now we are quite a close team. and everyone is like a very good dynamic.
Yeah.
So I think since today and since the close teamwork kind of, it was really inspiring actually. Yeah, it's really cool to see how the dynamic goes actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with me and with everybody your thoughts and really telling us a little bit about what you guys have been up to. It's been great. I've been seeing you running around the place, helping, and everybody always seems very enthusiastic. So really well done. It's been a long few days for you too, and I think you deserve a pat on the back as well. So well done. Thank you for talking to me, and yeah, we'll see you around later on.
Thank you.
And that's all from me for now. But yeah, I think we're coming to the end of our interviews, but maybe I'll be back for a short one or two later on.
Impact very donated. I mean,
you definitely say it was like 30 seconds and we said like the same thing 20 times.
Okay, then I start here.
Stretch this.
Start with the 1 minute speech, we start here.
Start with the transition. Then with the ask what no, stretch the foot.
Let's go straight.
So you have a question. Yes.
Let's start with that. How many of you are calling that? Oh, yes, it's 1 minute. How many of you How many of you have got screen and cancer? Nobody. What, and then I just go to it. What if I told you just saying there could be? No. What if I told you that those swaps are
No, you're missing the problem. Like, say, no. The problem is that we addressed is that it's not accessible and people don't know about it. We didn't address the problem. So you ask a question, then we ask why.
So why is that?
Then you have the sentence and then you come with our team is passionate. Name the team name. You said our team, but say the name. Yes. And then the rest part that we want to do the COVID stuff and keep it short. Like it's more the elevator pitches to spark it, not give the perfect solution. Yeah, it's like just the like the minimal value product is the only thing you say.
Okay, how many of you have got No, but I just want to know the structure. How many of you have got COVID testing last year? How many of you have got a screening for cancer testing? Why do you think all of us have got COVID testing? We went around and asked people, what's stopping you from getting screened? And most of the people said, I don't know how to do it. Is it time limit? It doesn't cost. Now, in our team, that's what we're doing. We're passionate about finding ways to make people aware of that they can prevent cancer and they can protect their health. Solution. We came up with an initiative called SCAT. What if I told you that the same software we're using for detecting COVID can be used to detect cancer? What if I told you that there are biomarkers in saliva that can be used to detect X types of cancer?
Or you could say at the same time you get tested for COVID, you can also get tested for cancer.
Yeah. That means that we could use the same facilities, the same resources, the same people, and the same machines, and that we've already implemented the paradigm, already out there to help millions of people or to prevent millions of deaths in the next years. Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
I think it's perfect. I mean, just remove the part when you say we as a team are interested in.
Okay, now timer. And you remember everything you just said?
I think you should write it down.
No. Let's try it first and then try to everybody. Now it's here. Okay. How many of you have got how many of you have got a screening for your kids? Why do you think that? Why do you think all of us have got and none of us have got screening? We went around and asked people, what's stopping you right now from getting and most
Hi everyone, and the time has come for the last interview. We've gone through almost all participants and it's been great getting to know you. But right now we're going to end with Joette. Hi Joette, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing very well.
Great, great. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so I am originally from West Virginia in the States. I have a background in ecology and evolutionary biology, and my specific focus is on mycology with fungi. I'm just starting my PhD, and yeah.
Yeah, exciting. Are you excited to work on your PhD for a little while?
Yes, very much.
Yeah, great, great.
I'm eager.
And yeah, you mentioned that you're interested in fungi, and we had a little conversation about the love of fungi scientists for fungi. So I'd love to talk to you a little bit about, you're working on the soil deal in Europe. So how can fungi be used to kind of combat issues related to soil that we're focusing on for the mission?
Yeah, it's a really important issue to increase the understanding of how fungi can help because it's so many ways. So naturally in the environments, fungi help to build the soil anyways by creating more organic matter, more bioavailable nutrients for other organisms. And also as a biotech solution, they're very, very good at taking out different pollutants.
Okay.
Things that cannot be remediated or removed through any other solutions can sometimes you just find the right fungi or the right mushroom and it can do that.
Yeah, wow, okay. And have you integrated it into your project?
Yes.
Yes, great
I made sure I got that in there.
Oh, good, good.
It's a part of our, very biologically focused solution.
Brilliant, brilliant. And also, so, because we're coming to the end almost of the second day, how has your experience been at the TalentOn?
Really good. Yeah. At the beginning, I thought it might be extremely intense, which it has been intense, but in a very positive way. I feel like it's been very supportive, not overwhelming, but inspirational. I go back to the hotel and instead of passing out, I stay up too late being so inspired to write down more ideas. And
great.
Yeah.
Great. And what are you hoping to gain from this experience after it's done?
Yeah, I would say both networking, of course. You never know where you're going to meet your future coworkers, and also the skills, because the reason I'm in research is so I can implement solutions. So getting the skills to make that happen in real life, whether it's business skills, pitching, academia, whatever it takes to like take my research solutions to the real world.
Great, great. Perfect. And yeah, I think that's all my questions for you, actually.
Okay.
I would like to thank you for being my last interview.
Thank you for having me.
It's been absolutely lovely just having a little chat with you, learning about what you do and how you're finding the process. Best of luck for the next day or two. And yeah, thank you again.
Wonderful, thank you.
And I would like to thank all the participants and the buddies and everybody involved with helping us do these interviews and to really sharing yourselves with us. It's been really good getting to know you, and we've really appreciated your openness and willingness to just come and have a chat with me or Hanneke or some of my other colleagues. So thank you. Good luck with your projects. We can't wait to see what happens. And yeah, good luck.
Trying it in a heavy smoke, like they're trying the system.
So it's in the early days.
No, but it's a thing.
Yeah, but also like when we go to the larger convention, like especially used for more cancer type, it's just all the
But then it becomes something that it's not really shared, but it's there. That it's scalable, right? Okay, that's not a thing. I think our unique selling point is that even though it's out there, there's big accuracy levels. Nobody has linked the two things.
no, it's yeah.
Exactly, that's our study thing. Our results are like the facilities other people are trying to tell people, hey, go to the doctor and have this. It's like the same when you go to the bar. You just sign a paper and say, yes, I want to get tested for cancer. And initially, lung cancer.
And how fast are those tests? Is it also the same type of testing machine?
It's a PCR test.
PCR test. It's just as well spit out
So you want it fast.
doing that with all the tests. It's a different process.
It's the same PCR but different reagents.
Different
You're
markers.
detecting
You look for different
DNA.
Okay, but essentially exactly the same machine.
Yes, the technique is exactly like the science behind is exactly the same.
Basically, it's just a different solution you mix.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, different things.
Amazing.
Yeah. But it's for
Somebody thought of this or no?
We
Well, what is your plan? There's all these stations in PCR testing centers that needs to get a little bit of a different solution to put in their PCR machines, and then they can test this. Where do you come in? What do you offer?
We offer like precision and like for the immune, they like find like initial testing, like lung cancer is like the most expensive testing to treat because it also very technical to do the stage 4 side. And that's why it's 85%.
Why?
5 years living is 30%. So when you get it, it's like the 3% of all the deaths. All deaths, 20% of
Or lung cancer?
So, and it's a most expensive. Basically, the investment is like from 50 trees finalized.
Can you cure it?
Yes.
we come in because we offer this solution. We partner up with COVID facilities and we already even got we're in the process. Well, we got one, right?
Yeah, but also, like, that's the money part. The other part is like, the thing is, you don't establish a new system. Also, you have like the already trained staff. And
hello and welcome back with TalentOn TV. We have some final interviews for you to entertain you with. Right now with me is Tudor from the European Commission. Welcome.
Thank you. Very glad to be here.
So how have you been enjoying your day here?
It's been wonderful. First of all, I found it extraordinary to meet all these bright young minds, to see their passion for all the mission arenas they're working on, and I think the vibe here is great. So I'm very happy with what I've seen.
And are you looking forward to the pitches tonight as well?
Yeah, this is I see the tension rising, and I really feel my heartbeat is going up. So I think that's going to be the grand thing. So I'm really looking forward to see the ideas and to the level of concreteness in which they go, and the level of ambition, and in terms of impact. Also, that's very important for us to see whether this will really be able to solve societal issues that we're raising.
And so I think this is the first time the EU TalentOn is being organized.
Absolutely, exactly. It's the first time. It's in Leiden, and it's the first time we're having a EU TalentOn. And I think it's very, very important, therefore, that it delivers. So it's difficult to define success in this case, but I think what I would like think about it is, I would hope like in a couple of years from now, we would hear about 5-10 projects that have started here in Leiden, in the EU TalentOn, and who made it, and who really had an impact on the ground, and who changed Europeans' lives.
So then you'll be expecting some horizon applications from these teams in the future, probably.
Exactly, and some capital ventures maybe, and some new companies, and some new projects with European financing. And that's why we even had a session specifically on financing, where we explained to the participants that actually this doesn't finish after the award, and actually it goes on.
Yeah.
And that we're going to be there to accompany them and help them, and that there are a lot of funding opportunities from the European Commission side, but also from the private sector.
Well, that sounds very, like that should really put the emphasis and enthusiasm in all these participants. So is there anything else you really want to, this is the last moment you can give some ideas, some visions to these young, bright minds? Is there anything you want to give them to keep in mind for today and tomorrow for the finals?
Yeah, dare to go for a big impact. Don't restrain yourself, I think, and also try to keep in touch with the teams that you actually been in touch with so far.
Yeah.
And don't stop now. I mean, continue. This is the EU TalentOn is like a launching platform, and you have to continue. And I think that's the most important. Continue, and you'll make it.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and well, we hope it will be this will really work as a launching platform, and we'll see you back in 5-6 years, maybe with one of these startups there.
Yes.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. So thank you for watching, and we will be back with more interviews later on.
They already have it. It's just DNA extraction. What they need is the DNA they want to detect.
Yes.
That's what we do.
That's easy enough.
That's what we do.
I mean, that's companies that do pharma.
Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson.
Really nice feedback. There's also
They must have thought.
I think the company is trying to develop like the similar, like focusing on the similar COVID rapid test.
It's like a really freaking natural upsell. Like you're there already, so hey, do you want to do it again? I'll just get you
But the thing is, we are taking a risk, maybe a little risk, because of course the idea is great, but assuming that we will also have like need PCR testing for COVID, because then it's really cheap and it's like zero risk.
Yeah, because everything is already out there. And it's definitely super scalable, because once people get used to it, with saliva, once the technology is more proven, you can detect not just lung cancer, but other types of cancer.
I mean, there are still PCR windows, so people when they have their COVID tests are positive, they're still doing a PCR to see if
The first thing is, you don't want to start having these PCR machines. You want to utilize the existing infrastructure, and essentially, do you want to be the entity that creates awareness that this has an opportunity and partner with other PCR locations to sell, like essentially cancer screening?
But the PCR, like the PCR, like the testing sites, they are managed by the government. Yeah, but like
you get like CE marketing.
Yeah, but like from the government.
So we could still work up, right? Like that would give you a plan. They would need to say yes, they want it. They would need to say yeah. But once they do, it's a full package. Like us, we provide a certain thing. So we also know this is like also raising awareness, or we also thought.
Hello and welcome back everyone at TalentOn Television. There's a familiar face for you right here with me. It's Slaven. You've all seen him at the ASOF announcement of who was going to partake.
Correct. On the last day of ASOF, Lucy and me had the opportunity to select who are the 104 selected applicants. And at that time, they were all following this virtually.
Yeah.
And today we are seeing them in person. So this is, of course, an amazing moment.
And so have you met all 104?
Well, they are working really hard throughout the building. So I think, of course, we are very curious for their feedback, but I think there's so much thinking happening right now, and we don't want to disturb them with this. But of course, during the breaks, it has been a pleasure to talk to them, and I think it's going to be quite competitive because I haven't heard one bad idea so far. So I think it's going to be 26 teams coming with groundbreaking ideas. I think the jury will have a very difficult time to make the selection.
I think so as well. I've been able to meet quite a few here in this room, and well, they're all sounding like they have great ideas and great plans and great pitches. So are you looking forward to the pitches tonight?
Yes, of course. And well, of course, the pitch itself is very important. This is going to be quite short pitches, and what we are even more interested in is actually to see what are the ideas, what is the impact of these ideas might have if they get implemented. Have they been thinking about how to implement these ideas, and how novel, how new, how creative, how fresh are these ideas as well. So of course we're looking, of course, at the pitches. I think then we will have a sneak peek into their ideas, but of course I think by discussing them afterwards we'll have much more information about what these ideas are really about in detail, how advanced they are in their thinking. So yeah, it's great hours ahead.
So this is the very first time for the EU TalentOn, and the European Commission is of course also very curious how this will evolve. So when will it be a success in the view of Europe?
Yes, so this is a pilot, right? And I think when we, a couple of years ago, when we had first discussions, and we knew that 2022 was going to be the year in which Leiden will be the city of science and ASOF will be hosted there, etc., etc. It was clear that it would be really good to have a competition for early career researchers. We have the UCs from 14 to 20 years old. When it comes to the ones from 20 to 35, they already have some academic background, some professional experience, that have so many ideas. This is something that we actually want to focus on. And also because they're still at the stage where they learned a lot in the past, but they're also in the full development. They are continuously acquiring new skills and knowledge. So we want to do something about this. However, the format of this has been quite unknown. How do we approach this? And we took some inspiration from the hackathons, but we also didn't want to make too much effort or to put too much emphasis on the result itself. We also want everybody to make progress throughout. So I think the first KPI for us would be actually to see, did the participants really acquire new skills, new competences? And this is not only about how to bring ideas, how to transform ideas into value, but also they are working with teams from different countries, with very different disciplines. So I think this is also going to be how we'll be working much more in the future as well. So also how did they develop their soft skills as well, and to really work together on extremely important and ambitious challenges.
Well, that sounds like there's a lot to be hoped for that they will gain, but I can tell you many have been here for this interview, and it's a skill. It's the first time that people get to enjoy standing in front of a camera. So I think there will be many things they're learning. Is there any last quote or last take-home message you want to give these bright young minds for the few hours they still have left within the telethon?
For a few hours, I mean, I think a lot of the ideas have already been developed in their heads. Think of the details, but of course, during the whole pitches and also the whole in front of the jury tomorrow, the time is very limited.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of ideas, so you really have to be precise, be concise, be impactful, be convincing in the time that is allocated to you, and make some final adjustments. Of course, practice the pitch a lot. So,
yes. I think that's a very great take-home message for them to do tonight. Keep on practicing. So thank you very much, Slaven, and I hope it will bring everything we all hope for, and we will make it a great success. So thank you for watching, and we will soon be back with some more interviews for you on TalentOn TV.
And then during the same time you get a phone without paying for extra personal equipment.
Some of the things, I mean, not for telling this I was reading that one of the causes of it, like, because there's like a huge reason for a lung cancer screening in Europe that I didn't know, but it's a paragraph. One of the most important causes is that the only screenings that they can do up to now is with radiotherapy and
yes, low dose.
yes, and the problem with that is there are still very few people qualified to perform those tests on people. So the problem is there's an overwork for people qualified for doing that instead of these two PCRs that literally anyone can do.
Yeah,
so that's one of the most important bottlenecks that they found for this game.
Also, every time like this,
not for the pitch, but
like the higher radiation.
Also that
it's like I don't know if they do statistics about lung cancer, but like they do statistics about like breast cancer, which is actually like induced by the breast cancer screening.
Like 6:30, then we have to go for dinner and then 8:00 pitch.
I think use the start was good and then keep it like simple solution. Just say we can teach lung cancer,
we do the same thing.
And then say like the survival rate of like the IQ survival rate for lung cancer usually detected in stage 1 is 13% and detected in stage 1 is 92% up to 90%.
And then you're the best.
Like,
yeah.
Do you want to live for 5 years? Yes or no?
That's good.
Okay, the 5 years survival.
Detected now to be detected past.
Some other thing that was very impactful for him when we were talking is that 3% total death in Europe.
Hi everybody, finishing our interviews off, we have two very special guests, and the first one is Vivian. Hi Vivian.
Hello.
Vivian is the organizer of the first EU TalentOn ever.
That's right.
So how has it been? How's it feel?
Thrilling. Yeah. I mean, it's been hectic, busy days, but so much fun. Yeah, I'm really enjoying myself.
Yeah, and have you gotten to meet some of the participants?
I think I have met all of them. They have lots of questions, of course, for me. And I really enjoyed talking to them these last days. It's really nice to finally meet them after looking at their faces online and thinking about who to select and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. And what are you expecting then for the next 24 hours?
Expecting, well, in a bit, I'm going to Pesthuis because that's where dinners are, but it's also where the public pitches and prizes are this evening. So if anyone watching still doesn't have anything to do this evening, then come to Pesthuis at 8. You will start the public pitches and prizes. So that's going to be really exciting because it's the first time that the teams actually pitch their ideas, and they all have 1 minute only. Yeah.
Wow, short amount of time, but I think it's going to be, I'm personally very excited to hear.
Me too,
Have you had any inkling of any of the projects that's going on, or what do you expect?
There's been rumors that there are some really good ideas. Some teams I've seen progress from being really happy about their idea to being like, oh, okay, we cannot do this at all. And then picking up slowly. And as Henrik also explained in his presentation, that's how it goes. And I think tonight we're going to see some good ideas. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So finally, before you go, is there anything you would like to say to our participants?
Well, first of all, I'm really happy that you are the 104 selected participants of the EU TalentOn, the first ever one. It's been really great meeting all of you. It's been wonderful seeing you work on your project. And I wish you all a ton of luck, and you're all winners no matter what.
Lovely. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's great for the next one. For the presentation, you can put a number in that. So you can just say there is one.
Like you're talking to your grandma, like what is it? So
one of the most deadly causes of cancer.
You can just say that to person.
And welcome back, everyone. I'm here with my final guest of the EU TalentOn TV. And it's probably, if you're a participant, you probably recognize him. It's Henrik Skiel. So Henrik, could you please tell us a little bit about you for those who are watching who maybe don't know who you are?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a pleasure to be here. I've had the honor of being the mission navigator of the EU TalentOn here 2022. And my role has been to motivate the participants, to train the participants, and guide them safely through this very exciting journey they've been on over the last couple of days, to help them learn some of the skills of the entrepreneurial world. And we've talked about sort of the difference between the academic world and the startup world and how to bring ideas to life. Yeah. So along the way, we've taken them through the whole process of defining a problem they're passionate about solving, So within the different mission arenas, they could pick a more specific problem that they really wanted to hone in on and a customer segment they wanted to focus on. Then we went through a big design thinking process, learning how to work as a creative team, coming up with lots of ideas. Ultimately, each team picked the top idea they wanted to work on. And then we built business models, and then they've been out testing their business models, talking to potential customers and stakeholders and all the different potential gatekeepers and building prototypes and all that stuff. So it's been a lot of fun.
Wow, it sounds busy. Busy, but fun. And how has your experience been? If you've obviously enjoyed it, but what's it been like meeting all these young, bright, talented people?
Right. It's been incredible. I mean, just the energy buzzing as you feel here in the building and keep waiting. I mean, I did the last presentation at 8:30 p.m. last night and they stayed around. Like I literally at like 10, 11 p.m. last night, people were still cranking, still working on their projects. So it's been great to just feel that very authentic desire to make the world a better place and solve some of these really important challenges. So
definitely.
Very comforting that we have all these great young minds working on such important problems.
Yeah, I've been interviewing a lot of them, and really, I'm really excited to see what the pitches are and just what they've come up with. I think it's going to be amazing. So before you go, is there anything you would like to say? Any final words for the participants?
Well, I just want to say thank you. It's been such an honor and a pleasure working with all of you, and I can't wait to see you out tonight doing the 1-minute pitches, and tomorrow in front of the jury panels. It's going to be great to see the final result of all the hard work. But also, I'm really excited to see you take these ideas to the next level and really bring these ideas to life, because all of the projects I've seen so far have tremendous potential for real impact. Brilliant. And the end goal is really to not just end here at this competition, but to keep working on the ideas, to keep working on other ideas, but utilizing these skills for the greater good in the future.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And I know that a lot of the participants have mentioned your graph, the famous trough, and I think they've really enjoyed having you around and really appreciated the time that you've spent with them. So thank you as well. And that's a wrap from TalentOn TV. Thank you all very much for listening, and good luck to all our participants.
No, it doesn't cause the most death. Most cancer related. Yeah, when you talk the most death, it's not clear that it's cancer death. I think people die more a natural death in Europe than die from
the cancer that causes the most. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You're getting tongue twisted?
Yeah. That's not leak proof. Let's go to court.
It's expensive, no?
It's the most expensive treatment-wise. The money lost also on like the
80 billion.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the EU TalentOn. I hope you're all well rested and ready for another day of hard work. And of course, we are back with some more interviews. We're going to try to get through everybody today. So I'll be running around trying to grab people, so make sure you're ready to be asking questions. They're very easy, I promise. So we're going to start off today with Ilse. Hi, Ilse. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, doing well. So Ilse is working on the mission of cancer.
Yeah, that's right.
And so first of all, if you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm currently a PhD student at the University of Helsinki, working in a hematological genetics group. So we study genetics of blood cancers, mostly leukemias.
Okay, so this area of cancer you know very well then.
Yeah, at least somewhat well.
Somewhat well, yes. And I wanted to focus more on maybe your thoughts on the kind of format of the EU TalentOn, because you've done one day of it now. So how did you feel the kind of format of bringing lots of people together is working out and the sharing of ideas?
So far it has been really great, and we've learned a lot as a team.
Yeah.
And I think the structure has been actually kind of nice. Like in the beginning it felt like we're not quite sure what we're getting into, but like once we move forward, like it's becoming clearer and clearer, which is really nice.
Great, great. And any challenges starting off with the group? Was it hard to maybe settle in, or did it all just work out straight away?
I think we maybe in the beginning had a little bit different ideas of what we wanted to work on, but once we settled on the idea, like we were all like super in. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, that's really great, really great. And I was wondering then if you also give me maybe a highlight of yesterday. Is there any point of the day that you think, wow, that was really awesome?
Yeah, I think like choosing the idea, because we were brainstorming about what we would like to do, and then we kind of had this mini lecture, and then after that we kind of dove into what we would like to do and looked into 2 different options. And then once we were like, okay, we're gonna go with this, and started the proper brainstorming, then like the ideas just kind of started coming in, and that felt like really good. We're like, okay.
I guess you're wondering what happened to the results of the competition on the first evening. We've been getting some questions about that. I have to say, lots of teams were really close, in the range of 9 to 13 points. There were 3 teams that really stuck out. And I'll start with the team that is number 3. That is Team AE. Stand up. You got 16 points, so well done. Second place is Team DA. 70 points. Well done, well done. And then there was one team that had 20 points. I was pretty impressed. It's Team BA. Well done. And as for the last question on the quiz, almost no one got it right with Herman the Bull. I think most of you have just seen him at Leiden, so I hope you did. All of you did really well in the competition, and congrats to the winners. I have another announcement to make, and that's that the interviews will be running all day long today. So if you haven't been interviewed yet, expect that to be coming. We really like all of the interviews on TalentOn.tv, and we're getting lots of nice responses on it. So you're all doing really well. Yeah, virtual to use the photo booth, but also leave the little photo after the test. You can also use it twice, take 2 home, and stick 1 on the wall because we really want to collect those. And that was it. I'm going to give the floor to Henrik. And have a really nice day today. You're all doing so well, working so hard, I'm really proud already.
And so you're reading
Good morning, everybody. How are we feeling? Tired? You guys were up late working on your business models, prototypes, and all kinds of good stuff. It's amazing to see how motivated you were to stay late. And it was great to see some of you at the brewery afterwards. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, please. You guys are so excited to all this chit-chat. This happens when people start getting to know each other. Okay, so it's Friday today. The agenda of today is that we want to sharpen our ideas, the concepts, our business models. Today is also the day where we're hoping that you will get to test your ideas. We talked about this last night. Interviews. Today is really the best chance to get that reality checked out. Get to talk to some potential users and customers, strategic partners. It's very powerful.
Makes people think of like having one test center in every fucking village and like making it super expensive
to tell that story, that you're passionate about this problem, that you see out in the world, why you should care about this problem, how it's impacting people's lives. Then you came up with an idea that you thought might solve this problem. Then you went out and tested it. So it's just not just something
but then I would say,
you've done your market research.
So what we want to do is we want to expand we want it to, or something more like we want to talk to them, make it very clear that you're using the same people, but you're using the same tools at the same time, using the same resources at the same time, without any. Your COVID, maybe say your COVID test can also be used to see whether or not you're at risk for, so basically that.
I will today talk a bit more about the startup method. And again, don't be confused about this startup lingo. I will try to address that. I know some of you feel like, oh, it's getting too business.
But right now we're throwing them out.
Startups. So I'll try to address that in a moment. Why these techniques and why it's relevant. Many of these techniques are introduced more techniques. How you can get some of this testing. And if somebody wants to create a landing page, like a website for your business,
This is to begin. If you're going to start with one kind of circle, you're going to eradicate them all from that, and then you can just name a bunch for all rap mode, name all the cancers, but I think sort of where your link, it shouldn't be much longer than this. So like, you only have 1 minute, you don't need to explain the whole thing, it's just saying, basically we're going to use
most
tests
importantly,
to
when you're
detect
thinking
cancer
about
and
prototypes,
fix that.
it's the main objective is that you can visualize the core functionality of your product. So that the jury instantly understands what it is that you want to do. How does it work? What does it do? So don't spend like 8 hours trying to build a really functional, well-functioning AI tool or app or whatever it might be, because they're not going to be able to really test it anyway in those 2 decades. But of course, if you have a prototyping app and you can put it in front of them, it might be impressive. And they can see, oh wow, it's actually a device.
Are you using, YouTube? Are you using,
They see that you were able to execute, that might be impressive. And in terms of putting together a fancy website with all kinds of different pages, you might as well just put that together in a PowerPoint slide or have that in your wherever other way you want to do it. So wireframes can be a great way to do it as well. Anyway, we'll dive into that in a bit. But today you will have a chance to really work on your products and work on your ideas, conceptualize these further, make sure you've covered all the core aspects of your business idea. There will be a bunch of mini lectures. You can see that in the program.
It's too much detail. I would say just repurpose testing,
So how to put together a pitch for elements in your pitch deck and how to deliver it. It's not just what you say, it's also how you say it. So we'll talk about body language and intonation and how to get off the stage and how to make sure to delegate the different tasks between the different team members. It's really up to you how you want to facilitate. Every team will be in the room, obviously, to answer questions from the group. But you can pick one or two or all four people to present. So it's up to you. And we'll talk about storytelling and a bunch of other stuff. Definitely show up for the honor pitching at 2 o'clock. I think some of the tracks, some of the mission arenas have side visits as well today. There is an optional workshop on fundraising, so for those of you who are interested in money from investors, we talk about how investors think. So both cover the venture capital world, angel investors and VC funds, and how to tap into that, how to structure a fundraising pitch. But also we have Slavik and his colleague from the EU Commission that will show you how to get access to funds from the EU. And they're great because they're oftentimes in the form of a grant, so you don't have to give up equity in exchange for that capital. And there's a bunch of other great resources that they have available. There is definitely also the option of going to the makerspace. We have some folks ready to help you. Who's working on 3D models? Awesome. Great. So we'll get that going. So we'll make sure that your prototypes are actually ready for pitching tomorrow. So tonight at midnight, your team pages are due. And you can submit those to info@talenton.eu. Plus, maybe also just copy your mission arena managers and make sure to track whoever has submitted their team pages of this idea summary. And I believe Vivian just sent out an email. Do you have all the information needed for the team pages? Okay, it's on its way. To get exact structure, like what are you to cover in this summary. And again, the team pages that you're submitting tonight is version 1. And it will be shared with the jury members. Tomorrow you will submit a final version if you have any updates on it. 1 to 3 pages. Finally, we have dinner at, I believe, 6 o'clock over at Festivals again. And then we have the public pitches starting at 8 o'clock. What that looks like is great. So we have dinner at 6 and then drinks from 7 to 8. And then at 8 o'clock we start with Mission Arena 1, 2, and 5. And there's a break, and then Mission Arena 3 and 4. And Vivian just sent out an email on how that works. We have exactly 1 minute to pitch, there's no slides. There's a countdown timer.
But to make this happen, we need your help.
And I'll also help you prepare you for that.
Support, we need.
Yeah. At the pest house. I think out in the courtyard when the permits. Okay. Good. Here's the jury panel for tomorrow. You know, some of you were like, how can we research our jury members so we know what is their background so we can be strategic in terms of how we position this?
I think that's too much detail already.
Right. So here you can do your background research on that. That's also what every good entrepreneur researcher would do. Right? You need to know your audience. Right? If you're talking to a technical, tech-savvy audience, there might be stuff you can skip past faster. Or a very common mistake that entrepreneurs and researchers and investigators make is that you get into this world of your own project, and then you assume that everyone else is on the same page and they understand you. That's very dangerous because then you skip past stuff very quickly. And if you skip past stuff and if the audience starts feeling stupid, you lose them. Right? So it's better to start out too simple and make sure you explain all the basics. And the same with the public pitches tonight. Don't be too academic too fast, because you will lose a lot of people. It's better to pitch to your grandma. It's a great sort of technique. Or what was it? Pitch to the rubber ducky technique. Okay. So some of you have talked a little bit about, hey, why does it have to be so startup-y? Why do we have to talk about money all the time? Well, it turns out, if you want to have great impact, you sort of need to have some funds behind you. Right? And I want to tell you a little about a short story about this guy. Do you know who this is? His name is Blake Mykoski. And Blake was traveling around Argentina as a backpacker about 12 years ago or so. And he noticed that in many of these like small rural villages, the kids didn't have shoes. They had to walk like 3-4 miles to school each way. And they had blisters and like bloody feet from like walking on this rough ground. So he's like, these kids need shoes. So when he came back from this backpacking trip, he asked his friends to pitch in so he could buy some shoes and send them to some of these villages. And he found like one of these villages who would help distribute the shoes if he sent them down. So he did that, and he helped like 100 kids with his own funds and funds from friends, and felt good about that. But then he went back to Argentina and he saw that there was another 1,000 kids without shoes on their feet. And that made him ponder, like, well, I can't fund this myself. Like, me and my friends and the people I know, there's no way we can provide shoes for all these kids. So he founded a company called Tom Shoes. And he essentially invented this business model called buy one, give one. Have you heard of Tom Shoes? A few people? Right, so Tom Shoes, every time you buy a pair of Tom Shoes, you are also funding a free pair of shoes for a kid who needs a free pair of shoes to wear in the developing countries. And that is how this company is a $1 billion business. They generate hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue every year. And they also have provided out millions of pairs of shoes to kids who need them in various developing countries. Plus, done a ton of different philanthropic initiatives. And it's just an example of the fact that you can actually make money while doing good. Right? So, not to say that it always has to be that way. I have been on the board of nonprofits, I've helped start nonprofits, and yes, you can have another impact in the nonprofit area. And some initiatives have to be in the form of a charity organization or a nonprofit, but oftentimes you can have a lot more freedom to operate the way you want to do it if you have a sustainable business model to power your initiative. So on this spectrum of the types of businesses you can build a for-profit that's really just designed for maximizing shareholder value and making money and putting it in your pocket. Or on the other side of the spectrum, you have charity organizations, right? Red Cross, UNHCR, that powers like refugee camps and helps provide aid. And those types of organizations are very hard to make money, like serving poor people in Atlanta. You probably can't generate a whole ton of revenue. They have to be in the form of a charity. But for many other types of organizations, they can be somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, where you have your own sustainable revenue model, you found a way to generate money selling a product to one type of customers, but that empowers you to now fund other initiatives or to help other types of customers, but with your own funds. And the good thing about that is that you're not spending 70% of the time begging for money from donors. So it's just something to think about, and I don't want to tell you what is the right way for you. But at least over my career, like, I've ended up figuring out that this like for-profit social venture model can also be a lot of fun, and it just gives you a lot more flexibility. So there's something to be said about that. And then the other thing to be said about this is like the reason why we talk about startups and we now talk about lean startup method is that it really does apply, whether you're a for-profit or non-profit or social initiative or more like focused on revenue. The fundamentals are the same. You need to test your idea with customers, figure out if the user likes it. There's an infinite amount of social initiatives that go wrong because they didn't really test it with the people they were trying to help. So it really does apply. Okay, and if anyone wants to talk more about this, I'm happy to engage in a conversation. We can talk about whether it's relevant or not. And also, this presentation is very much optional. Okay, so yesterday we talked about interviewing. And we learned about a problem interview where you don't even talk about your solution. And I highly recommend the first part of your interview is a problem interview where you ask them questions like Justin introduced us to yesterday. Tell me about the last time you experienced this problem. Get them to tell you a story and then dig in with additional questions, understand the context, and all that good stuff. At the end of the interview, you can switch to what we call a solution interview, where you present the idea that you have. You're still not trying to pitch and sell, but you can talk about, so this is what we have in mind, and we we would love to learn from you. What's really important when you are interviewing somebody is that you don't come across as a salesperson. What happens when you get a phone call from a salesperson? Hey, I'm calling you from XYZ Insurance. We'd like to talk to you. And you hang up right away. I'm like, no. Or people outside the shopping malls are like, no, I'm so busy, I don't want to talk to you. But if you ask for help, it's like amazing that just switches. People want to help you. I have examples of friends who go to the airport, for example, where people are usually waiting, they have time. Either you can wait at the baggage carousel, where people have like 15 minutes. So for example, Justin, he does this sometimes. Then he will bring an empty suitcase with him to the airport, so he doesn't look too strange. And then he will go to like the baggage area and picking up the luggage. It's like, oh hey, this is somebody who's in his the customer segment he's trying to interview. Can I ask you a quick question now when we're just standing here waiting for our luggage? And that's a great time when people have these like 15 minutes to talk. But also, friends of mine have gone inside the airport and have engaged in conversations that were where people are so passionate that they missed their flights on purpose, just to share information. Because they're really passionate about this problem that the entrepreneur wanted to solve, and they wanted to help provide him with enough information that they can build a product for him, right? So if you come across as somebody who's genuine, it's like, I'm really passionate about this problem, we want to solve it, can you help me learn? Help me learn more about this problem and the context, so I can build a product that really works. But at the end of it, do a solution interview where you talk about the features, maybe you show your prototype, you get some feedback on that. Who should you talk to? There's this innovation adoption curve, some of you might have seen, where we talk about different types of customers that you can target at different cycles in your startup. In the beginning, don't try to sell to people who are skeptical. It's a waste of your time. We talked about the characteristics of an early adopter, who are people who have a problem, they know they have a problem, and they're actively trying to look for a solution. Those we call innovators and early adopters. Those are the people who sleep outside the Apple store just to get the new version. Right? And they're like desperate for a solution. Like they've Googled themselves, maybe they try to hack together something similar. They will light up when you share with them that you're trying to solve this problem. Like, oh my God, I've been looking for that my whole life. Like, please, can I try it? And they become your best friends. They're willing to try out a crappy first version of the product. Right? You can launch a beta version of the product to those people because they don't care. A version that has crappy features and it keeps like collapsing and failing will still be better than nothing. And they're willing to endure that. So you treat them like family because they're going to help you build the product that will ultimately work. Later, when you've actually fine-tuned the product and it's working, you can start targeting the early majority. Right? And this is where crossing the chasm comes into mind, because of course there's a lot more money here, but it's harder to get those people on board. And then later on, you know, maybe you have a very tech-savvy grandma, but later on you can start targeting like grandparents who are like later to adopt the latest technology. Depending on your type of audience, you call those the late majority, and the laggards are really hard to target. They will only buy this type of product once there's no other option, right? Okay, so talk about this, do your interviews. The next version of MVP testing is what I call pre-selling. Sell it before you build it. And how do we do that? A couple different options. Yesterday I mentioned that, for example, Dropbox and Houston put together a quick little MVP, minimum viable product video, demonstrating the functionality of Dropbox. He put it up, publicized it on some of these hacker forums, and he had 70,000 people sign up overnight. They didn't pay anything, but it was more than just saying, oh yeah, that sounds cool, right? They signed up with their email and their phone number, and they're like, please tell me as soon as this is ready, because I want to be on board. And then you could go to an angel investor and say, like, I think this would be a cool idea. So I put this little video together, and now I have 75,000 people signed up to be the beta users. Do you want to give me $1 million and I can build it? They're like, that sounds interesting, right? Because you got some what we call social proof. In the pitch, you're always trying to build credibility. Like, investors don't want to invest in some loony with a crazy idea. They invest in people who've done their homework and where there's actually real proof. So investors care about two things: low risk, high return. High return both in terms of money, but also if an impact investor, high return in terms of impact. Right? but you want to do everything you can to de-risk the opportunity. And how do we de-risk it? We look through our business model and we see that all these guesses, all these hypotheses have to be tested. The more of those that you can validate and test, the more convincing you're going to be. And from an investor's perspective, the less risky it's going to seem. Does that make sense? So, low risk, high return. You've got to address both things. We'll talk more about that later. Another thing you can do, but you don't have time really to do this, but maybe in some small version you have time to do it, is some of these crowdfunding platforms. Right? So my friend Catherine Krug, for example, she has always struggled with back pain. Right? Maybe some of you can relate, like crunched over on the laptop late at night. So she came up with this smart little fix. She's done a ton of prototyping, and she found out if you put a little patch on your lower back with these straps that go in front of your knees, you will automatically get into a better position, and then you can start training your posture. So 15 minutes of sitting with this better back system actually improves your posture and makes you feel really much better. So they launched a Kickstarter campaign, and they sold $1.2 million worth of these before they even built them, right? And then later on, they raised money from Shark Tank, and off the rails. They're doing well. And similar to boosted boards and One Wheel, Kyle and the team at One Wheel had this idea for a crazy electric skateboard. And the same with boosted boards, right? That was the first ones. And they figured they could probably build it. But they also figured it was probably going to cost $1,200 to $1,500 for an electric skateboard, which seemed like a gadget. So is there an audience? We don't know. So before they really set these into production and took a huge risk, they put together a Kickstarter campaign, simple video demonstrating the team, how they're going to do it, the idea behind it, and they sold $500,000 worth of these skateboards before they built it. Right? So this whole idea, like, hey, how can we actually pre-sell some of these before we build the real thing? It takes a lot of risk out of it, so you don't end up wasting time and money building a product all at once. Okay, the last thing I wanted to go over is this MVP technique called simulation. So how can you manually simulate the delivery of your service or product without building the whole back end? And one example could be Zappos. So Zappos is a online shoe company started by Tony Hsieh. And Tony and the team had this idea, like early 2000s, and now we have the internet, people must be ready to buy shoes online. But what is the risky thing in buying shoes online? You never know if they fit, and their quality, and whether you like them or whatnot. So that's why people are hesitant to buy shoes online, because they ask to buy their shoes. So they were like, well, what if we just include a return label in the box? If you don't like the just put that label back in the box, and we'll come and pick them up for free. So that was the idea. So what do you do then, if you have that idea? You buy like a warehouse full of shoes, and start a website? They didn't want to take that amount of risk, so they went down to the local mall, and they asked the shoe store owners, like, hey, would it be okay if I take pictures of some of the shoes you have in the store? And they're like, why would I take pictures of the shoes? Well, because we want to try to see if we can sell them online. But, well, I don't want you to steal my business. No, well, come down here and pay full price for the shoes if you sell any. It's like, all right, that sounds good. So they did that, and then they took pictures of the shoes, put them up on a crappy looking website, spent a couple $100 on Google AdWords. So if people search for shoes online, they would go to Zappos. And then they would just like call customer support, and it would be Tony, the CEO, picking up the phone. Customer support at Zappos. This is Tony. And it's like, great, I want those Nikes in the size 11.5 of black. Great, yeah, what is your address? And then we type it up, and people would send them an email, and they would simple form. And they would like literally take the bikes, go down to the local mall, buy those shoes in 11.5, put them in a box, send them off. And then if any of the customers were hesitant or wanted to return them, again they would call customer support. So now you're talking to a paying customer, right? And you start figuring out real customer interaction.
Okay, let's do it.
Whenever we're taking any risk. Nobody would buy anything. All they
Are you guys like
putting up the website. So it's just a way, of course, you're not making profits. Of course, it's not a scalable idea, but sometimes you want to do things that don't scale.
Info at TalentOn?
Just to test out, because you learn can infinite amount by manually providing this type of service. Right? If you want to set up an AI system to talk to family members of cancer patients and coach them through all this stuff, do that manually first, right? Before you hire a call center and train staff and create some kind of AI that can do this, do it manually first. So not all proctors can do this, but many of them actually can. So you can manually provide the type of service. So simulation is a very powerful technique. So just like simulation and interviewing and pre-selling, there's a lot of other MVP techniques that entrepreneurs and innovators use. Yesterday I talked about the whole idea of an ads campaign, where you can just use that to test demand. So one of the things we can do today, if you want to, is that we can put together a simple landing page, a simple one-page website with a registration form, where we describe the product as if it already exists, and we can have a sign-up button, or you can at least have like a learn more button, or something like that, where people then register. And then if you spend $50, $100 on Facebook ads, you will be able to generate traffic to that page, and it will be pretty powerful if we can stand in front of the jury tomorrow and say like, yeah, so we tested this, we posted it in a couple of relevant Facebook community forums, and we put together a small little ads campaign, and out of the 100 people who saw the, 1,000 people who saw the ad, we actually had 50 people click on it, and out of those 50 people, we actually had 20 people sign up to hear more about our product. So based on that, we then called up 2 of those people, and we learned a lot about blah, blah, blah. Right? This is how you fast you can do it.
How much time did you check the time?
Yeah, it's literally now 1 minute and 4, so.
Used bikes or scooters or
perfect.
Whatever, like in the US
Yeah.
marketplace, like somewhere where you can just sell all your used.
I'm good, I just need to print this.
So if you have like and sometimes there's also services on those pages, so you can put up an ad on a page like that if you have a physical product at a really low price,
How do we print this?
and you basically fake it because obviously you don't have anything to sell, but you'll be able to like get people on the phone. And if there's another tool, Amazon Mechanical Turk, where people use it for like micro jobbing. So for example, if you're training an AI tool and you need people to test like an image recognition algorithm and just train that, you can do that. But there's also people with all different types of backgrounds. There's millions of people looking for these micro jobs. So one of the tools that Justin and I have used is that you put up a micro task and you're looking for people, for example, who have family members with cancer, right? Or looking for people who are really passionate about cleaning up the oceans or whatever it might be. And then you say, I'll pay 50 cents if you give me a call so I can do a quick interview with you. And I kid you not, within 2 minutes your phone starts ringing. And you're actually talking to people in that customer segment. So there's many ways of hacking, many ways of hacking this. Don't talk to your family members and friends. Like try to talk to some real potential customers who are in that segment. And how do we find them? Like social media community groups is a great way. Or social media ads, or Google ads, but also some of these other hacks.
And then tomorrow we can elaborate.
Business?
Yeah, a lot of
science, mechanical Turk, things like that. So talk to me if you want to try to build some kind of MVP and you need some ideas on how to do that. A paper prototype can also work just fine. Really the main objective for, at least in terms of prototyping, is a visualization of the product. Some of the other things might be more sophisticated in terms of being able to test whether people want it. Okay, again, this might be repelling for some people, but the process of marketing and getting new adopters to use your products looks a little bit like this. You're starting out with strangers, people who've never heard of you or your brand, and then you need to have some kind of entry channels, ways of people to learn about what you do.
There's a phone.
This could be a billboard up on the freeway. It could be a social media ad. It could be in the newspaper, in a magazine, a podcast. Many different ways of creating awareness. Then you share what you have to offer. And you typically offer some value up front. So without them even buying anything from you, they start looking at you as a valuable place to come to for product and advice, and you start building trust. Then you capture the lead. Usually you capture their email address. And the reason why we want to do this really fast is so we can have a recurring interaction with these people. People don't buy from you the first time they see your website. It usually takes 8 or 9 interactions with your brand before they're willing to make a purchasing decision. That's why you see many of these brands that are so keen on getting your email that they're willing to pay for it with what we call a lead magnet. Either a free PDF, a free checklist, a free tutorial, a free video, an upfront, whatever, my free trial, so they can get your email so you can continuously interact. And now they can put you on the newsletter, you keep hearing about them, they retarget you on Facebook and Instagram or whatever you go for your socials. And the more times you start seeing this brand, all of a sudden you start trusting them. Right? So you're building trust now, and eventually you get a first purchase, and then you keep adding tons of value, keep over-delivering, and eventually these people will become your evangelizers, and they're going to start spreading the word and bringing more business to you. So another way of looking at this is like a funnel. Right? Not everyone that you talk to will become a customer, so we need to have a lot of people up top in the funnel. The reason why it's called Pirate Metrics is because of the acronym R. Right? So awareness, we have these various ways of creating awareness. And it might be through community blogs, it might be giving public speeches, it might be sending an article into the climate adaptation newsletter, or whatever it might be. People need to hear about you somehow, and ideally in a very cost-efficient way. Then you get their email, and you start adding value to them, and eventually some of them are going to start using your product or purchase it, and then you think about retention to make sure they keep using it, and building up a referral mechanism, so they refer other people to come to you. Does that make sense? Right? So that is like how you start building a massive movement. You need to have some kind of funnel. And there are many ways of doing this, and I'm not going to go into all of this stuff, right? Depending on your type of product and business, different types of entry channels will work, different types of lead capture, ways of getting those first leads. But I'll go through landing pages really briefly, and the rest of us we can go through later. So, a landing page. What is a landing page? A landing page is a simple website with one single call to action. And it's where you land after you click an ad. Okay? So you don't want to get people to your general homepage because it has too many options. And then people will read a lot of stuff, they'll get confused, and they will leave. And the main objective with the landing page is that you want to capture that lead. You want to get their email address so you can reconnect with them later. So a landing page has a CTA, a call to action. In this case, apply now. It can be sign up here, it can be free download, it can be whatever it is. But some kind of CTA, very high on the page. And that's the only thing you can do on that page. There's no navigation bar, there's no confusion in the sides, very, very minimal. You just try to get the value across very quickly. This is what we offer, this is the value for you, sign up here. Join now, whatever it might be. It's a very targeted headline, focused on building credibility, and the beautiful thing about a landing page is that you launch not just one version, but multiple versions of the page. So you can start doing what we call split testing, or A/B testing. And that means that you have multiple versions of the same page, but you might be trying to test what is the best value proposition for the audience. So you spend $1,000 on Google Ads. Let's see here, what is right? Spend $1,000 on Google Ads. Then the system, Google will try different types of ads as well, but they will send the traffic to one specific URL, like one specific web address, but the landing page creator will automatically split the traffic into two streams. One will send the traffic to version A with the orange header, and one will send the traffic to version B with the green header. And then you'll figure out, not based on intuition or gut feeling, but based on data, what has the highest conversion rate? Right? Do people like a scary image of a dying cancer patient? Or do they see a happy image of some cancer patient who has survived a little longer and is now happy with a family? What has the highest conversion rate? Might sound a little cynical, but in the world of marketing, and to make this the most affordable, like, you need to think about your unit economics and these metrics. Like, what is the most affordable way of getting new people to join your movement? Simple differences between sign up now and join today might seem like it's the same. I promise you the conversion rate is going to be a little different. And all those microeconomics, or unit economics, like, they make a big difference. So that's why we're tracking all this stuff. So where can we use this? We can use it all across the entrepreneurial process. From, this is what we've been working on so far, empathizing with users, defining the problem, coming up with ideas. Now we're in the prototyping solution stage, and we're starting to go into the lean startup process here, right? Where we build, measure, learn, build, measure, learn until we have product market fit. Once we have product market fit, everything changes, because now it becomes about scaling up this initiative. And this is what we call growth hacking, another annoying startup term. But we're trying to hack growth because we want to be really efficient. Like, a startup does not have $1 million for TV ads. So we got to be really efficient with our money. So we figure out what are the best channels to use. Right, out of all the different options we talked about here, should I use Google or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube? I don't know. So we're going to test it. Which one is the best way to get a new lead in the most affordable way? So we target different customer segments, we do micro-targeting, and then we figure out, you're not going to do all this now, don't worry. But I'm just showing you so you know, like, okay, this is actually how this process marketing works in case you haven't really come across this before. So we test out different segments, we test out different channels, we test out different value propositions, and we figure out what resonates. And then we put the money where we have the lowest customer acquisition cost, so we can basically get the most people in for our marketing dollars. Okay, that was a lot. Any questions about any of this? Is this useful? Yeah. Yes? Okay.
I have kind of an ethical one.
You have an ethical one? Yes?
It feels a lot like, well,
yeah.
It feels a lot like manipulation.
In what way? In what way?
Like that you're kind of going on the edge of that weak point in the people to get
a weak point?
Yeah, because they see a problem as usually when you have a problem, it's kind of a weakness.
Right.
And then you use it for your own purposes.
Well, let me ask you this. What are you building right now? Are you in the cancer? No.
You're in water.
Sorry, you're in water.
Yeah.
Right. So do you believe that your solution will improve the world?
Like, I don't think it's gonna change much, but it's gonna make it.
You might want to reframe that tomorrow.
Yeah. We're gonna see how it goes today.
Of course.
But I think, well, you can change the world with like big shakes. You need to go like slowly, and that's like could be one step towards that, but it's not one of those big shots at the wall.
Sure.
That's
Right.
gonna hit it.
But if you're ethical in your business, right, and you are building a product that you believe people will benefit from, right, and that's what we're all here for, right? We're here to improve people's lives, and we're here to improve the planet's right, in various ways, right? And make sure we adapt to climate change and restore our oceans and waters and help these people suffering from cancer and their families. So if you generally believe that you can help people in their lives and their loved ones with your product, wouldn't it be the most ethical thing you can do to get the most people possible to hear about your product? Like, the more people you reach, the more people you help. So I could argue that you have an obligation to be as efficient as possible with your marketing dollars, so that the most people possible hear about your amazing new solution, so that you can impact the most people, like the most lives possible. But the problem is, we don't know what the best value proposition is. For example, for these families affected with cancer, right? We don't know what is going to resonate. So when we talk about the value proposition, it might be something different than what you expect. And if you change the value proposition, you'll be able to reach twice as many people with the same amount of dollars. And then you could help twice as many families, right? You see where I'm going. So yes, you are optimizing, and is it manipulation or is it just being smart? I don't know, right? It's manipulation in the sense that you are figuring out what tends to resonate best with people, and then you focus on that. And you're using a quantified method to do that in a very systematic way. And I completely agree that the problem with this method is that it really works. And it also, and they found out about this during the 2020 political presidential election campaign in the US, right? And then they used, like, they spent a shit ton of money on this, and they really tested it, and they went to the complete dark side of human manipulation and figuring out what kind of dark messages will resonate with people. Oh, it turns out people are more likely to click on things that makes them angry and aggressive, and if they can hear the worst side of themselves resonated by other people, you will funnel into this guy echo chamber on Facebook groups, and then they just went double down on that. So it works for bad products, but it also works for good products. And the problem is there are not enough good companies out there that are good enough at using this kind of stuff, right? Because there are ethical researchers that are doubting themselves, oh, well, could I really do that? And then not enough people hear about all your amazing inventions. So, yeah, I don't know. If you're using it for a good purpose, I feel like it's just being smart about how you spend your marketing dollars. But it's certainly a balance, and you don't want to manipulate people. But yeah, happy to talk more about that. Okay, so yeah, call to action, we talked about this. So one thing is a landing page, and I can help you build a landing page if you're interested. I have a tool called Unbounce. I have a pro account, so I can give you a free account if you want to set this up. There's no coding involved, and you can literally set up a page in 45 minutes. It's all drag and, so this, it's all drag and drop for landing pages, okay? Unbounce. Let me know if you want a license. You just text me. I will send you an invite to Unbound. You get an invite to set up a free page. We can run a little mini tutorial. You okay, buddy? We can run a little mini tutorial if some of you are interested in that. But it's all just drag and drop. And Unbounce is cool because it has this A/B testing built into it. So you don't need to code that. So when